What's really hood, internet? Here we are at the YouTube channel once again with another TNOS reviews.
The interweb.
The interwebs.
All right. Well, what are we reading this week?
This week we are taking on our first piece of filmography, cinematic pictures. We are looking at the freshly released documentary of Captain Alex Rust, who circumnavigated the world in like 3 years time frame, and this is the documentary Chasing Bubbles, which you can watch on YouTube
Or Vimeo.
I
watched it on Vimeo.
Oh, okay. Whatevs. Sorry.
It's free.
It is. Either way, no, it's a good, it's a decent documentary about sailing for sure, and I found out about it from watching another channel about sailing on here. You guys have probably heard me talk about it on the podcast. It's called SV Delos. Brady, actually, one of the crew members on that boat, actually spent time on Bubbles. So
Nice.
yeah, that's how we know about it.
You know, I figured you recommended it based on our friend Tim and Mason living on boats.
Correct. Yeah, that's part of it.
You know, Tim sails the world-ish. And, you know, I thought it was an interesting look. You know, I like to travel personally. So when I started watching it, you know, I immediately just wanted to get on a boat.
Yeah. Without going into like all the details of everything, yeah, it's about Alex. He is living in Indiana. He graduates college. His father passes away while he's at college, and his father's really older than him. He comes from a large family. He's got like 13 or 12 brothers and sisters or whatever, huge family.
And they're wealthy.
Yeah, well, maybe not wealthy. I don't know what their status is, but he owns a farm or something like that. Yeah, so he's established, I'll just say. Alex goes off to college. Like I said, his dad dies while he's at college. I guess he gets through college, gets a good job. He's trading in, like, I guess the agricultural trading industry or something.
Yeah, I mean, all the financial.
It's not like the
brokers
stock market exchange, but it is like one of the trading floors on whatever. I don't know. He's making decent money doing so, though. But at this time, he's living in a van because he doesn't like, he's making good money and he sees other people buying frivolous things and spending their money just on whatever. And he's still kind of young and he sees that he wants to do other things and travel. And he traveled a lot before getting the job as well. So, yeah, he gets that and he just kind of cuts ties with, I guess, corporate, much like our friend Tim did. And then went down to West Palm and bought a boat.
Yeah, Fort Lauderdale, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Because he Googled where are the most boats at, where are the most sailboats at. Yeah. So he went and bought a sailboat and then he sailed the Caribbean.
Now,
that's how that started.
The documentary is very good. I think, like I said, it's relatable to a lot of people's stories. Whether, you know, you're coming from a background where you haven't traveled and you want to, or you've traveled and you just want to do more. You know, that's where I find my take on it.
I think it's a good story too, because I think once you start to travel, you get bit by the bug, no matter how old you are, and then especially when you're doing like world travel, because world travel has got to be way more crazier than just like, you know, the traveling that I've done throughout the states or whatever. But I know that it makes me want to travel more watching that documentary, and I think even more so the fact that he didn't know how to sail, and, you know, he's from an area of the country that doesn't really have a lot of predominant water for sailing at all, and you know, he just bought a boat, set a goal, and then just kind of sailed to the Caribbean, which was his first dealio, sold that boat, and then that's when he started sailing around the world.
Yeah, he did some more research, ended up with a 39-foot
cutter sloop.
I believe that's right.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just crazy. It baffles me. It's one of those things. So, you know, like I said, I like to travel.
But you're uneasy on the sea.
I'm not sure how I feel about the ocean.
Right.
Overall. I've never been on a cruise.
Really?
You know, that's one of my next things on the list, I would suppose.
I would say sailing in a boat like his and a cruise are a grand difference, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah. I think watching that documentary had to kind of alleviate some of your fear though too, because like it literally is. You watch the beginning of it, and he literally doesn't know what he's doing at all. He got that Sailing for Dummies book or whatever, and that could be just a thing that they were saying in the movie, but that could also have been like really what happened. Just Sailing for Dummies and just reading that book while they're underway.
Well, let's Google it.
Yeah, because you can't
And
really
that's
Google when you're out
turns
there.
out.
But yeah, so I mean, they didn't know how to fix engines, and they did all that kind of stuff, and all the problems that were underway at sea. It took them, I think, 3 years to do the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overall, it was 3 years to travel around the world in a boat.
And I think he started alone.
Yeah, and he just picked up friends
Mm-hmm.
and made a lot of friends. And
I think like 80 something people jumped on and off the boat at a certain time, and then he also met a girl. I think he met a girlfriend while he was out and about too.
now, what did you find the most interesting part about the movie?
I'm fascinated currently right now with just sailing the world in general because I think it's a very inexpensive way to travel. I think it's also it gives you time to reflect upon a lot of things too because it's a slow way to travel too. But you have months on end to do whatever you want, kind of at little cost for a long period of time. But it also is a little scary to think about just sailing in the ocean because you're just floating along the top of the ocean for the
Oh
entire
yeah,
ocean. Um, and so when you're doing that, it's fun to watch them do that as like complete novice individuals. And he set that goal of doing the entire world and completing it. And like he says in the movie, he's got to be the worst sailor to ever circumnavigate the world, hands down.
but it was even pointed out that during that process, he ended up, really becoming a sailor
Right? Yeah.
overall.
Well, I think
Uh,
I think like just trial and error and everything like
Exactly.
that. It's life because it does get hairy out there, and they show a couple parts and they do a couple things where it gets like kind of scary.
And that's the part that scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, I don't know if I could do that.
Well, I think those times hopefully are few and far between because you're kind of avoiding weather here and there. But when he talks about like getting hit off the boat or like, you know, Diego, a crew member, getting hit with
Oh
like one of
yeah,
the sail things and almost flying over, yeah, that shit's like real life scary stuff. And they go through the party phase. Like it's a whole party for a while, and then it gets like serious because he's going around the world. But it's also like a novice captain with a novice, even more novice crew. So
but they're living life,
yeah.
and overall, I think that's the most appealing part of the movie. I mean, uh, you have this guy. He's living in a van, like saving up money. Yeah, he ended up buying the boat for 70 grand.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a chump change.
Nope.
So he's like, he has a dream, pursued it. He did it, and then, for everybody out there, definitely check it out. But I think, when you get toward the end of the movie, and he finally gets into land, and he's figuring out like what's next.
Right. Yeah.
I
Cause
think that would hit everybody that way.
yeah, especially because not like even having that big party like at the end of I mean, spoiler alert, he does circumnavigate the globe, and he does it within 3 years. We've already talked about it, but he has a big party where he invites all these people that have come on the boat back to the thing, and in Saint Martin or whatever island they started from. But even then, like the transition from going on a boat for that long, coming back to land, and just like your equilibrium balancing out, but even the mental part of it, just like
Yeah.
because he started saying like he would start coming to the ports in the Caribbean and he had been there, so it's kind of like this weird like familiarity,
Reminder.
yeah. And yeah, no, it would mess with you. The whole like documentary part where he was interviewing after the trip is kind of like,
You can see he misses it,
yeah,
I think.
or he just the death of his father plays a role in this whole thing too, and I think that kind of I don't know. Like he doesn't know if he's running from responsibility, this or the other, and then that's when he goes to India, obviously, and tries to find himself.
And yeah, I think the trip overall, maybe that was him trying to find himself. But that's you. I think grief is you're gonna cope with it your own way, no matter
Right.
what.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know how I am, you know how you are,
Right. Yeah.
and we're not gonna handle it the same at all.
Well, I know, like what we were saying, like it's slow travel, and you're a lot. There's a lot of downtime sailing, so
Yeah.
I'm sure yeah, I'm sure you deal with not him, but I'm sure you deal with a lot of stuff when you're out
Like
there.
existentialism
Hmm.
and all the good things that accompany that.
But
Yeah.
I guess do you want to? Well, this is a spoiler. Like if you
No
don't want to
spoiler
end, if
alert.
you don't want to, okay, you don't want to do the end. Because I mean, they can Google it.
They can watch
Okay, you should watch it. It's definitely a good movie. It's like an hour and a half long. Uh, it's really cool. He's a zany character. He is like a once in a lifetime kind of dude. All his friends loved him. It looked like in the documentary, and all said he was like the kind of wild child type of thing. But he's definitely crazy. He looks kind of like me.
it. I was thinking a little bit minus you don't have as blonde hair, but
Right, but I'm not in the sun all day
um,
long either.
would that do it?
Yeah, yeah, you get like sun bleached.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Maybe because I'm not in the sunlight
maybe
anymore. The vitamin.
D. Okay,
I was gonna make you say it.
right. All right, guys.
Whatever.
Well, what would you give the movie a rating, or what was your favorite part?
All right. So my favorite part was kind of the recap of all the places that he went to, and just seeing the spectrum of life that is so opposite of ours, but so similar. Like I said, I'm a humanitarian. I think overall, I think everybody should get along, and he really does a good job encompassing like getting along with everybody and being a good person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's my favorite part of the thing, besides traveling, of course.
Right. Yeah. The travel was for me, and just like the whole, like I said earlier, I'm fascinated with sailing currently right now, and so that's like it's just a.
You just wanna,
I liked watching it. I like watching sailing videos with people like circumnavigating the world or traveling. So I really liked it. It was very informative too, just because like really you do see him just like super novice. And I think it tells a lot of people to like really just go out and live their life, or if you want to do something, go do it. So
I agree, 100%.
what would you give the movie in a 5-star rating?
All right, so we don't do a lot of fives here, and that's for a proper reason
Mm-hmm.
because nothing's perfect. I give it a 4.25 in there,
4.25.
somewhere in there. It's better than the average. Um, if you're gonna spend an hour and a half of your life watching something, it's educational, it's entertaining. It's a good story overall. I think they did a really good job of creating it. I mean, it's all done through a Kickstarter, anyways.
Right. Yeah. I was gonna say, comparatively, it's like it's a not-for-profit dealio. It's just like they just wanted to release this movie to tell Alex the story. I mean, it is really one of those stories where like he took 3 years and went around the entire world, saw everything and anything that you could possibly think of. A lot of people like finish school within that time. Do life-changing of personal things in that time frame. So. For me, I also would rate it just because on that aspect and just the content in it is really appealing, and the ending is also leaves you with a pseudo cliffhanger for you to think about. I'd give it a 4 as well. It's a lighthearted documentary. It's a for the most part it's a lighthearted documentary, and it's really good. So I would suggest everyone watch it.
Chasing Bubbles.
Chasing Bubbles. You can find it on Vimeo.
Vimeo.
Not the cash paying app, but the other
Video streaming app.
Yeah, the video streaming website. Or you can find it on YouTube, or you can go to his Facebook or the movie's Facebook and give it a like and a share. You can also give this video a like, a share,
and comment.
and you can comment. Comment what you thought if you saw the movie, what you thought of the movie. Tell us what movies we should do in the future to review. And is that it?
Stay tuned.